I spent over $100 on Domino's pizza last month, and now I also own about $100 worth of Domino's stock. Why? Because I'm doing this challenge where every dollar that I blow on fun stuff, I invest an equal amount right into the very stocks that I'm buying from. It sounded clever when I started, but 1 month in, I've learned that this experiment, well, it hits you twice. Once when you spend the money, and then the second time when you go to invest. In this first monthly report, what I'm gonna be doing is breaking down exactly where my money went. You might cringe, you might laugh, you might cry, and what I've learned from investing in everything that I'm buying on a day-to-day basis. Is this high stakes? It definitely is, but I really do think that it's going to stop the splurges that I have and really help me benefit in my financial future. So let's jump in. So I kicked off this invest in your splurge challenge. I hate the name still. Please leave a comment to help me out to rename this, but basically it was to rein in my spending and boost my investing. I felt myself slipping. I was spending money in unnecessary categories and I wanted it to be really in my face, and I fully expected it to hurt, but seeing the actual numbers from 1 month, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. For context, the average American admits to roughly $1,500 a month on wants, or about $18,000 per year. I'm embarrassingly average in that regards because when I tallied it all up, honestly just imported my statements into ChatGPT, it came back to about $1,350 in a single month. If I keep this pace, I'm pretty close to $16,000 on non-necessities for the year, and that's damn near $18,000, the figure from that survey. And that realization, well, it kind of stings because under my new rules, that $1,350 of fun means that I also have to double that and invest $1,350 in my portfolio. Great for my long-term future, but it effectively doubles the cost of almost everything going on. And that's talking about putting my money where my mouth is. Again, to be clear, this doesn't include any of the necessities that I have to spend money on, things like groceries or things like my car insurance, the mortgage that I'm paying, the internet, utilities, things like that. This is more so those like one off-the-cuff purchases that you make just like in the moment, splurges, things like that. And I want to make that very clear. Maybe I'll make another separate video where I do that for a month. I just think that would get really out of hand because that's so much higher than non-necessities that I spend money on. But nevertheless, we're getting away from what the challenge is. So let's get back to it. I mean, like most people, I honestly used to shrug when I would make a $5 coffee purchase, or $20 Uber Eats was nothing to me. But when you tally up a month's worth of the dribble small charges that you make, it really adds up to significant losses. In fact, 70% of folks say that they can make smarter money decisions each month, but none of us actually take action and do it. Here's the thing, I definitely fall victim in that category. I mean, looking back at what I spent on this month, I really was like, holy shit, I don't remember spending money on that, let alone why am I wasting money on some of these categories? And it's no wonder why a quarter of people don't even want to start budgeting. It's because it's uncomfortable to face your own spending, but this challenge is forcing me to confront it head on, and I'm painfully glad that I'm doing it. Because the first thing that I learned is that small everyday expenses aren't trivial. They compound into huge sums over time, and if you don't track them, they can steal a chunk of your wealth right under your nose. You don't even realize it. The first step to building wealth is plugging the leaks in your budget, and in my case, I literally have to pay double for any of those leaks, so it was super easy for me to identify the areas that I can improve and what I can cut out for next month. So let's talk about where I actually spent that $1,350 on. Spoiler alert, I basically could have put it on a plate and just ate the money because most of it was just going away on dining out, takeout, and drinks. They absolutely dominated my spending, and I totaled roughly $600 on restaurants, fast food, coffee, and bars in 1 month. Yeah, you read that right. It's beers, it's wings. Actually, every Thursday I do a wing night with my mom, my sister, my girlfriend. We all go to the same restaurant. It's fantastic. I actually we'll never cut that out, and we try to get the best. I'm again losing track, but a lot of it just went to unnecessary food. Domino's deliveries and drive-thrus. Food was by far the biggest money drain that I had. And it turns out that I'm not alone in this category because the average American drops about $209 a month in restaurants, $177 on takeout, and $189 a month on drinks. If you add those up, you're around $575, which is almost exactly where I landed. I basically lived the average American diet of takeout and craft beer, and I'm recognizing that I have a problem. Now, seeing that total, it is a hard realization that I'm literally just eating away a sizable chunk. It's potential savings that I have. It's a huge benefit to my financial future. And for each of those foodie indulgences, I had to cough up an equal amount to be invested. And now trust me, ordering $30 for a bar tab, it feels very different when you know that you're gonna have to invest another $30 the next morning as a consequence, and talk about your Sunday scaries. But let's get pretty specific with this. I mean, Domino's I spent $106 on, and the truth is we hosted a party and I wanted to provide food and I was being a gracious host. What can I say? But at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean that I'm just not going to invest that money. I made the conscious decision to go out and spend a little bit more. So that's exactly what I'm going to do when I invest. And the irony here is that Domino stock has been a long-term high performer, and they've absolutely crushed it over the past decade, turning early investors into multi-millionaires. And maybe, just maybe, my carb-fueled diet will pay me dividends one day. I mean, someone can dream. But again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this eating your way to wealth as an investment strategy for most people. I've set myself up in a position where I've saved enough cash to be able to do a challenge like this, and it's something that I've been interested in doing for a long time. So it did take some prep to get the financial backing that I wanted to be able to successfully do this. And so I'm going to be really interested in seeing where this goes. Now, I also hit Dunkin' Donuts a couple times. Those $5 meal deals are killer, really helps out. Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and here's the thing, some of these companies like Dunkin', they used to be public. They're not on the stock market anymore. They're a private company. Chick-fil-A is a private company. So what I'm going to do is find either an alternative for Dunkin' Donuts, maybe that's Starbucks, or I can invest in an ETF that is going to trace like restaurants on the stock market. So I'll get creative with some of that. And again, I'll drop all the investments and I'm going to share links to this specific portfolio once I figure out the best platform to do that on. If you guys have any recommendations where you can just pop in and see the investments that I'm making, let me know because I could do it on that platform. Now, the other thing that goes hand in hand with the food is my Walmart ordering. Now, I spent about $417 last month, but that is mainly groceries. They're kind of necessities. Obviously, you got to eat during the week. I need to spend more on groceries, less on the takeout stuff. But Walmart, I splurge a little bit every single time that I do that because I actually get the groceries delivered. I hate grocery shopping. It saves me a ton of time to work on YouTube and do other things in that time that I save from it. And so it's a little bit more worth it in my case. But trust me, if you start doing this, you will like never go back. But again, I'm going to invest at least $100 just for the extra convenience that comes with Walmart, and I'll invest that. So I'm going to invest an extra $100 just for the convenience that comes through shopping with Walmart. Now, I also stumbled on a mystery charge, $107 to Amazon. And at first, I mean, I didn't even remember what I bought. It was one of those classic late night impulse buys, you know, the kind where you convince yourself that you need something for some random household thing, or in my case, we were going to float down a river, so some new inflatable tubes and all these other stuff that I needed. Now, obviously, this 100% falls under non-necessity, but the rule is I have to match it, and that's what I did. So Amazon thrives on us impulse spending, and the average American fritters away about $109 a month on impulse purchases, and I basically hit that number on the nose with this order. Basically, what I've learned from this whole challenge so far is that I am your average American, and these stats and these surveys are pretty accurate for me, at least. I don't know if it kind of matches up with you. And let's not forget subscriptions. Those are the sneaky things that they charge you right under your nose. You don't even realize it. I've got two kind of big ones for me: Xbox Live, which is like $20 a month, Spotify Premium, which I think is $12 a month. They total about $32 a month for me, but every single month that adds up over time. Over decades, that's thousands of dollars, and many people are signed up for way more. Netflix, Hulu, subscription boxes, you name it. In fact, monthly subscription spending averages $219 per person when you count all the media boxes, gyms, and streaming services that you can have. And I've trimmed it down just to my core entertainment. Can't give up my Spotify or the online gaming that I do. Everything else I've pretty much been able to part ways with. So it's been super interesting. And one of the key ways that I was able to do that was through an app called Rocket Money. I remember when I first started using Rocket Money, it would identify those monthly subscriptions that you have. It can negotiate them for you. But also, I realized that I think I had like two Netflix accounts. One I had started a free trial on a while back, and the other one I was actually new about and spending money on. But stuff like that is just mind-blowing because you don't realize that it's happening. And then one day you look up and it's like, holy shit, I've got Netflix, Spotify, Hulu, Disney, like every streaming service under the sun. And then on top of that, you're likely getting double charged if you've ever done some of the free trial sort of rotations that I have. So definitely, if there's one takeaway in this whole video, I think subscriptions, you definitely want to get under check. And I think Rocket Money is a great app to do that. Not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, just like their product, and I've used it personally. And that brings me to the second biggest lesson here, which is tracking where your money actually goes. You're going to be shocked. I mean, when I broke my spending into categories, I immediately spotted my problem area. Hello, restaurants. Most of us have one or two categories that quietly bleed us dry. You got to identify yours, and if it's a struggle for you to cut back, try a creative twist. Gamify it sort of like I am. In my case, literally doubling the perceived cost of every indulgence by investing an equal amount. amount, it makes me so much more conscious about what I'm spending on. So find a trick that makes you pause and think before swiping your card. Even a momentary pause can prevent impulse buys that you're going to regret. So 1 month down, here's the big question. Is this experiment actually changing my behavior? I would say at this point, definitely yes. It's slow because it's only month 1, but I haven't transformed overnight into a frugal monk quite yet. Clearly, given the $600 in takeout budget that I had, but I do feel that there's going to be a shift. And there were a few times where I almost caught myself buying something even since reviewing this and just stopping and saying, do I really want to pay double for this? For example, I almost bought a new pair of headphones. I've been waiting to upgrade mine for a little bit now, $200, but knowing that I'd had to invest another $200 alongside of it gave me a pause. And I realized, you know, my older headphones, they work just fine. On the other hand, when it comes to the hanging out with friends or satisfying my pizza cravings that I have, I still kind of gone for those and have paid the price later. So I won't claim victory on curbing all of those habits that I have just yet, but I think just being aware of these things is huge. And so the big takeaway from month 1 is that bridging the gap between spending and investing changes how you see every dollar that you have. By literally investing in everything that you're splurging on, I've forced myself to confront the true cost of my lifestyle and the creep that I've had. It's equal parts painful and it's equal parts empowering, but now I'm choosing to invest in me. I'm turning my potential waste into wealth. I mean, will my goofy burger and video game stock portfolio beat the S&P 500 this year? Who knows? Probably not, but to be honest, that's not the point. The point is that I've already saved now and invested an additional $1,350 that I definitely wouldn't have otherwise. And that habit could be a complete game changer over the long run. So what do you think? Is this experiment starting to show its value, or am I just torturing myself without anybody even noticing? Would you ever try something like this spend and invest challenge that we have here? Or do you think there's a saner method to just curb your spending altogether like this? If you enjoyed this content, make sure that you like and subscribe. I've got future updates coming. And again, I want to share this portfolio with everybody so you can see exactly what I'm investing in. So if you have platform recommendations, definitely leave a comment down below. Thank you for checking out this video, guys, and have a great day.